So, and I can't believe how many people still make this mistake. Never trade on anything that's red. So never trade on the red moving average or the red pivot. You just don't want to enter a trade there. You can trade to it, or you can trade once it's through it, but you don't want to trade on it. So entering a trade here is a very big mistake. Now, some of you will say, but the price action goes through it, and then how do I know when it's going to go through and when it's not going to go through? Well, the rule is simply this: just don't enter a trade on it. Wait for the price action to go through it because you never know. And usually, when it's going from fist to fan, is the only time when it's on a strong trend that the price action will go right through the 200 SMA. But when the price action is not ready for its trend, notice the position of the 13 EMA here, how close it is to the 200 compared to the 13 EMA here, how far away it is, and the trend has not started yet. So I'm just going to pull this down for a second here so you can see. So it's very, very important to apply the rules at the right time. And so you can't just say, well, some of the time the price action goes through the 200 SMA, so I'm at the 200 SMA, so I'm going to just take this. I got a nice sexy candle here at 1838, so now I'm going to jump in and go through it. You have to connect the dots more efficiently. So you have to say to yourself, what's the other rule that I always say? Always look at the 13 EMA first. See, and these are the rules that I have learned inside and out, which is why I tell traders if you're making oops trades, it's you're not following the rules and you don't know your rules. And you need to revise and revise and clarify until you know the rules inside and out. And that's what separates a trader who's more consistent from a trader who keeps making stupid mistakes. It's all about how well you know the rules. See, when I get to the 200 SMA, immediately my thought process is my thought process is, where's the 13? What are we doing? Are we in a counter trend or are we on a trend yet? Oh, we're not on a trend. We see that we bounced over here. Okay, so I'm not going to take this one short. I'll wait to see what happens. Maybe I'll take the bounce off the 200 SMA. That's a very nice counter trend strategy. And then I'll wait to see what develops. And then I come over here and I go, oh, we crossed in the 200 SMA. The 13's there. We got all the moving averages going into a fan. We're ready for a trend. Now I'm ready to trade. So I'm going to go through some of the thought process tonight, but I'm going to be talking about just some very core, simple rules without listing all the rules there is to know that you can follow right now that should make the difference and avoid some of the oopses that you're making. And this is going to segue very nicely because basically it's going to be based on trend line information more so tonight. And then next week, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to focus on support and resistance. So I'm going to tie together your basic core rules for trend line information and support and resistance. And if you can really get these two squared away, then you're pretty much set. Okay? So without going into all the nitty gritties about every indicator, we can pretty much cover everything we need to know with these two core materials: trend line rules and support and resistance rules. That's all you really need to know. So let's get started here. So I just needed to make sure everybody, I'm not going to get into what's a clear trade, what's a gap trade. You all should know that. What's a reversal? And if you need to revise that, go watch the video stuff on the course that says clear trade, gap trade, or reversal, retracement versus reversal. Oh, next week is the 4th of July. There's no classes. I'm sorry. It'll be the week after. So I'll start with support and resistance, coming back up, connecting the dots. And if you trade within the rules, you can pretty much stay out of trouble. You can avoid the maybe stuff that maybe will, maybe won't. And that's the other thing I always say. I try to avoid maybe trades. If I think it's going to be, maybe will, maybe won't, I just avoid it altogether, wait for the next one. There's always going to be another one. And it's annoying when when you miss a really good move. But if you simply be patient enough and wait for the rules to set in, then things will work out very nicely. Now, the places for the rules, simply go to the website. Hey, there's always another bus around the corner. Yes, exactly. So don't chase the market, don't chase the trade, and don't be upset when you miss a really good move. Because all that does is kick in those emotions, and once you become emotional, you start doing stupid things. It's very important when you're trading to to control the motion. Don't let it spike up. It's very important to maintain that cool, calm, and collective state. You don't want adrenaline pumping through your veins. Don't get upset. I missed that. Ooh. Just okay. It's gone. Next one. Where's my next opportunity? You've got to maintain that baseline, that cool, calm, collective state. Because the minute your emotions kick in, you really need to walk away from the computer for a little bit. Once that adrenaline kicks in, then what you're looking at the charts is simply not what's necessarily true. It's a completely altered state of mind. So, to go get the rules, just go to the members download section in your member login. On a different computer here. Hold on. It's supposed to automatically load. Okay, so if you go to the members download section, the first document I suggest you always print it out and make a copy of it is um, the 10-second document. Very, very important. And the 10-second document covers the rules. I created a short list last week, but these are the basic rules, and this will cover you for your basic trend and your counter trend. You must know these rules backwards, and if you don't know them, you need to get them clarified. So we'll reference a little bit of that tonight, but I've got an easier way of demonstrating the rules, and I'm going to approach it tonight, like I said, from the point of referencing mostly trend line, and then next week, the next class after the holidays, we'll reference support and resistance. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to talk about one of the basic trend lines. Notice this is my naked chart. I've taken some stuff off, so it's a very naked chart. And on this 1-minute chart, all I have is the 20 SMA, which is your black line. Don't even have the 13 on here, because I really want to make one of the most important trend lines that we're using today, which helps tremendously, is the HMA color change. Now this HMA color change, besides the fact of changing color from red to green or green to red, the most important concept that I want you guys to really hammer in is north of the border or south of the border. So I want you to think of your HMA as the border control, right? This is your border. And I want you to look at the HMA from um, the candles in relation to the HMA as being above it or below it. So can you see here, the candles are below the HMA. Here we are above the HMA. Here we are below the HMA. Here we're not above yet, even though we're going green. We just broke through. Here we're coming down, but we're not below it. Now we continue to go higher. And so I want you to really notice this, because it's situations like this that get people confused. Let's say you start a counter trend here, and suddenly the market's coming short. Do you stay and ride it out, or do you bail from the trade? Well, the fact that the price action is north of the border encourages me to stay the trade if I think that the price action is going to continue in this counter trend direction. Now let's say I wanted to go short as a trend trade. You can see here, this would be a more opportune time to enter, but over here, if I entered on this candle to go short, it would be a big mistake. What's the difference between the first circle and the second circle? Very simply, the first circle, the candle is, most of the candle is going south of the border, whereas this one is going into the HMA. It hasn't penetrated, the majority of the body is not on the other side. And sometimes if I'm not sure, I'll wait for the second candle to come in. So that's the first thing I want you to learn tonight from using the HMA trend line is it north of the border or is it south of the border in terms of where your candle's sitting. And once it's in the right position, matching the color of the HMA, so if it's red, your candle needs to be below it. If it's green, your candle needs to be above it. Then you know you're trading in the right direction. Right away, this can keep you out of a lot of oopses. I can't tell you how many people still make this mistake. So is there anybody who doesn't understand this concept? Couple questions here. Could you make the 10-second document for a 13 and 20 cross? I'm not sure what your question means. Um, the chart showing is the Mel Basic one you're talking about. Not the no. This chart right now is the Mel Basic chart. I've just taken off the fractals. I've taken off the moving averages, and I just have the HMA, the Lindreg, and the 20 SMA. It's a simple chart. And I'm doing it to make the HMA stand out. I don't want you to look at all the other stuff. I just want to talk about the core rule, which we're going to focus on right now, is the HMA. Usually more accurately wait for the close of the candle to decide the direction. Correct. So especially in situations like this, at 1933, it's best to wait for the close of the candle and then catch the very next bar if you're sure that, if you want to make sure it's really going to go south of the border or north of the border. Is that a Lindreg 9? Yes. The orange Lindreg is always the Lindreg 9. The brown Lindreg is always the Lindreg 4. To go long, does the candle need to be green, or can it be red? No, to go long, the candle has to be green. Remember, the candle has to be the right color for the entry. You never want to enter on the wrong color candle because that's where the HFTs get you. I'll give you an example of this. Okay, so here's a green candle going south of the border, right? You never want to go, okay, I see that we're red, we're south of the border, the close happened, and I'm going to take this green candle to go short. No. If you wait for the close of the bar and the next candle is green, even though you're south of the border, you know the HMA is red, you know eventually it's going to go down, you can't enter on a green candle. You must go, okay, well, this is a green candle. I'll wait for the next bar to see if it's red yet. Oh, no, it's not. It's still green. I'll wait till the next bar. Is it red yet? If it's red and we're still south of the border, then you would enter. So on this particular opportunity, I would only enter here. Because can you see, this is where HFTs get you. This is an HFT bar. Can you see? It goes green and immediately goes red. That's an HFT bar. And that's what happens where you get caught by HFTs. So you never want to anticipate. You want to wait till you see A shows up, and then you trade from B to C. So you have to wait for criteria A to show up. Okay? So if you're going to go short, it must be a red candle. Cannot enter on a green candle. And if you're going to go long, it must be a green candle. Cannot enter on a red candle. Period. And you must wait for it to show up, because otherwise you get caught by those HFTs. What indicator displays the pink time bar located in the upper right corner? That is called the fancy bar timer, and it should come on the Mel Basic template. It's called the fancy bar timer. Is the color candle entry